Hey guys, so I've been told that I really need to play the tea party to understand what is going on. Because to be honest, I still have no idea. Chapter 1 ended kind of abruptly, and I'm supposing that's all answered here in the tea party, so let's just head on in. Episode 1. Let's join a tea party. Oh, Purgatorio. Okay. We're in Purgatory? It's Battler. Hey everyone, congrats on finishing Umineko no Nakukoro ni. Man, I still don't have a clue what was going on when the story ended. Oh hey, look, he's me. So just what happened? Was that basically the bad ending where time runs out before the culprit gets exposed? Ew. Definitely a bad ending. Ew. I don't know, I wasn't that unhappy to see most of those people die. That's right. Beatrice's letter, which Maria-chan read on the first day, did tell us in advance to solve the riddle of the epitaph. We were all so busy trying to protect ourselves and look for the culprit that we didn't even take a shot at it. That's right. If we had actually tried to solve the riddle, maybe things would have ended differently. I wonder about that. Shannon-chan, you did a good job too. What? She died. You don't have to be our waitress and serve tea. After all, this is a rap party. As a group of people who met a horrible fate, let's all get along and lick each other's Ew, don't do that. Ew, lick, lick, lick. No thank you. Speaking of a horrible fate, Shannon beats the rest of us hands down, doesn't she? She was such a beautiful character, so I thought she'd definitely survive until the very end. But she was killed right in the beginning, and on top of that, what was it? Half of her face was smashed, right? That's the worst. That was my role, so, there was no way around it. Ne-san, it's nothing for you to worry about. Judging by the last epilogue, even Milady and the rest of them met an extremely tragic end. Ahaha, it seems so. I think I remember seeing this horrible picture, kind of like my entire body had been eaten apart and dismembered. Ew. Speaking of which, don't you think Kanon's last moments were the coolest? Even though he had the tables turned on him, it was a showdown with the culprit, right? It's a whole bunch better than our confusing last moments, right? Well, at least they admit it. Though in the end I was unable to get a solid hit in. Still, I think Kanon-kun's death was a big hint. After all, because of that, the existence of the 19th person was made clear. As if that wasn't already obvious. That's right. At that time, everyone's location was obvious. So it was impossible for anyone other than some unknown 19th person to kill Kanon. Ew. I said it was Beatrice from the beginning, over and over. Yes. Ew. Over and over. I don't want to believe it, but that does prove the culprit was a witch calling herself Beatrice. That's right. There were many strange things that happened that a human couldn't do. Ew, only a witch could do things like murdering Aunt Eva in that closed room. A human couldn't do it. Ew. Not only is the existence of a 19th person clear, but it's also obvious that this person holds a power that humans can't even imagine. In that case, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling this person Beatrice. We probably met at the very end. Met with the Golden Witch. Like I kept saying, Beatrice exists. It all went bad because no one ever believed. Ew. Even one of her witch friends said that miracles won't occur if you don't believe. Ew. That's right. Beatrice-sama is generous to those who respect her. It seems to me that Maria-sama was never a target of Beatrice-sama's wrath up to the very end, despite the horrible crimes that occurred one after another. Well, Maria believed in Beatrice from the very beginning. But if that's the case, how do you explain why you and the rest were all killed? You guys believed in Beatrice just as much, right? Beatrice-sama probably had her reasons. If the song of the epitaph represented Beatrice-sama's resurrection ceremony, many sacrifices were needed. He must simply have been designated to be one of those. Shannon-chan, you met a horrible end. At the very least, I wish your death could have been more peaceful and pretty. Well, it's not like it hurt. Anyway, right now, I'm perfectly fine, so don't worry. After seeing him stroke Shannon's cheek, which had been crushed during the story, it's getting weird, everyone laughed out loud, smiling. Well, it feels a bit weird saying this, but I was sure this story would fit into the standard mystery genre. I'm a bit surprised to find out that it's a fantasy. What? After all, a Western mansion shut away from the outside world on an isolated island, with an inheritance problem on everyone's minds. It sounds just like a typical mystery novel to me. Ew. It's not fantasy. Beatrice exists. Ew. Yes, we understand. Beatrice-sama does exist. That's right. Take a shot every time they say that's right. Beatrice-sama does exist. I hate to admit it, but I've got no choice. Because it's obvious that a 19th person, a witch, was involved. Many things happened that'd be impossible for humans. During the story, we tried to deny that in all sorts of ways. But now I can say it for sure. Each crime, every single one, would have been impossible for a human. They'd be impossible to carry out unless it was the witch Beatrice using all of the power magic could provide. The culprit was a witch. Duh. That point's perfectly clear. No shit. Hey, long live Beatrice! Ha 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 ha. Ew. Everyone believed. I'm so glad. Ew. Gods and witches might seem terrifying to people who are frightened of them, but I think they must be affectionate to those who believe in and respect them. I think you're right. So this murder case game is finally over. Now's the time to pull ourselves together and try hard to solve the riddle of the epitaph, just like Beatrice said, right? I agree. Beatrice will definitely be happy. Ha 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 ha. Everyone ignored that letter during the story. Even though it was thrust right in front of us, we almost completely ignored it. I kind of feel sorry for Beatrice-sama. I've got the epitaph written down right here. Let's all solve it. Let's all solve it. This story probably went wrong ever since that time. That may be so. Maybe we should have tried solving the epitaph's riddle from the beginning, like Beatrice said. Yes, instead of all being raging douchebags. Well, it's a little late now. Even so, let's try solving it now and see if the witch forgives us. Let's go. Let's try to solve the riddle of the epitaph. It was something like, "Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown." Wait, I was promised tea. Where's my tea? Maria put her notebook on the table and opened to the page where the epitaph was written. Everyone stared at it, getting really into it as they started guessing this and that about the riddle. Surrounded by the smell of black tea and freshly baked vanilla cookies, oh, yes please, they spent the time comfortably and happily. But then... Hold on a second, you guys. But Battler spoke in a way that cut through the conversation. His expression looked a little unhappy. What could he not like about all of this fun? I've been listening to you guys for a while, but... Why did you all stop thinking? What? Why are you so sure that the witch was behind all this? Don't you realize something like that can't exist? With just those words, the happy atmosphere surrounding the tea party evaporated in an instant. George and Jessica, and Shannon and Canon, and Maria. All of them stared blankly, wondering what in the world Battler was talking about. Even the foolish, arrogant Battler realized that he hadn't chosen his words well. Because, isn't it clear that these crimes were impossible for a human? That's right. Take all the shots. None of the cases would have been possible for a human. That's true. After all, wasn't it full of things that humans couldn't explain? I don't understand what you're saying, Battler-sama. I'm the one who doesn't have a clue what you guys are talking about. Isn't it obvious that humans committed these crimes? There's no way something like a witch exists, right? Then, what about when I was killed in the storehouse and something horrible was done to half of my face? If the culprit was human, how could they have accomplished it? It's hard to imagine how they did something that awful. But that was the Rose Garden storehouse, right? I'm sure there were plenty of weird tools in there. Let's say they used some electrical tools like a grinder or an electric saw. Ew. That's, yeah, same. Then, Battler, how do you explain Grandfather's disappearance from the study when it was a closed room? Even though the door was sealed, Grandfather just suddenly disappeared, right? We talked about that during the story too. Oh, please don't. Please don't. It's not impossible that Grandfather used some trick to fool the receipt. It's also possible that he went out the window, fell down, and Aunt Natsuhi locked the window from the inside. What? I could think of a bunch of tricks you could use without relying on magic. That makes sense, but not really. In that case, Battler-kun, how do you explain the way my parents were killed in the guest room? The door was sealed by the lock and the chain. Naturally, the window was sealed too. How do you think a human could have killed my parents? Well, we did have to leave that trick alone during the story. Anyway, there's at least a good chance the culprit had a key. And it was possible to look in through the crack of the door that the chain allowed. I know this is a stretch, but it's possible some device was used through that crack. Battler, that makes no sense. Like maybe they stuck something through it. Well, even though a door chain is incredibly simple, it's a big factor in setting up a closed room. If I hear closed room one more time, oh my god. Still, there's probably some closed room trick they could have used. If you bought some closed room mystery novels from the bookstore, you could probably find some trick that'd fit perfectly. Anyway, I can't think of one now, but I claim that there's nothing humans can't do if they tried hard enough. Isn't that argument horribly irrational? It's just ridiculous to claim that it's possible for a human to do something even though you can't explain how. Why is that ridiculous? Why did all of you stop thinking? Even something that looks impossible has to be doable. Doesn't it always work like that? So are we doing fourth wall breaking or something here? What's going on? Battler, you're the one being ridiculous. If you think a human could have done it, try explaining how. You can't, can you? And you're okay with saying the culprit is a witch just because I can't explain it? Sure. With that argument, all the unsolved crimes in the world could be resolved by saying a witch is the culprit. Why not? Battler, you're sidestepping the issue, and you aren't explaining anything. Yes, listen to the 9-year-old. We're saying a human couldn't have done it. Excuse me. Still got a sore throat. Therefore, the culprit is something that isn't human. And that something is a witch. And yet, you keep arbitrarily deciding that witches are impossible, even though you can't explain anything. You tell him. Hee. It's almost like humanity was during the Dark Ages. Like those fools who claimed the heavens spun around the earth. Those who said that the earth couldn't be spinning, even though they couldn't explain why. That kind of argument kind of pisses me off. So this is basically what you're trying to say. Oh, here we go. If I can't explain how a human could do it, then I must accept that the culprit is a witch? It's not like we're forcing you to go that far. We were just wondering on what basis you can say such nonsense. Nonsense? Hey, have I really been saying something that weird just now? Am I the one who's crazy? No, it's the children who are crazy. You guys are really starting to freak me out. Battler-sama, when I died in the boiler room, I was killed by a 19th person who shouldn't exist. Can you explain how a human could have done that? At that time, the locations of the 18 were well known. Even so, I was killed. We talked about that in the story as well, right? Kumasawa Ba-chan, for example. She said she followed right after you and headed down to the boiler room, but we can't know for sure whether that was a lie or not. For all we know, she might have entered the boiler room with you and caught you by surprise. Or maybe when you stepped into the boiler room, you activated some kind of trap, one that might have been set up to hit you with one of those ice picks. After all, the stink of grandfather's body was coming from the incinerator. Someone was bound to go and check, so if the culprit just set up a trap beforehand, they could easily have stayed away from that place and used the time of Kanon-kun's death to create an alibi. You talk about a trap in the boiler room, but what kind of trap could that be? That's right. Following his death, everyone immediately ran over to the boiler room. But we didn't find any kind of weird device, did we? That is correct. Battler-sama, what kind of trap could I have been killed with? Well, I don't know that. But anyway, they must have used some kind of clever trap, or maybe someone's lying. Or what about this? Kanon-kun, what if the whole thing was just you play acting? What? That's it. You were play acting. Isn't it just acting? Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi were also play acting. They made the closed room themselves and were only pretending to be dead. Battler, has your head been, feeling okay? Should I bring some cold drinks? Where's my tea? Don't look at me with those pitying eyes. I'm not saying something that crazy, right? I'm just pointing out some possibilities you might find if you think of it all as a trick. Look, isn't it a pretty classic trick in mystery stories to have one of the victims just be playing dead? A classic trick? In other words, when Kanon-kun was killed, we knew for sure where all the rest of us were. And let's assume that Kumasawa Ba-chan wasn't lying. But that's only counting the survivors. What if the culprit pretended to be dead and joined a group of real victims so we'd lose track of them, and then acted on their own later? Everything would be explained. Huh? So are you trying to say that Aunt Eva or one of the others was the culprit? But didn't Dr. Nanjo confirm all of their deaths as a doctor? That's right. Dr. Nanjo checked all of the victims. Battler-sama, for your theory to work, wouldn't Dr. Nanjo have to be one of the culprits too? Yeah, that's right. Once you consider that Dr. Nanjo might have been one of the culprits and faked the proclamation of death, the whole story changes. See, that's also a classic trick in mystery novels, isn't it? But Dr. Nanjo was also killed, right? About that. That's right. Dr. Nanjo faked his death. After all, there wasn't anyone except Dr. Nanjo who could examine corpses properly, and everyone was really confused then anyway. We didn't have any spare time to check and see if he still had a pulse. With this theory, any one of the dead people could have been walking around. I think it would have been hard for the 6 of us who died in the beginning to do that. After all, the shutter was closed and there was a padlock that couldn't have been opened from the inside. That's right. Mum was holding onto that key. So was Mum one of the culprits too? Wait a sec. Maybe it was impossible for the first 6, but in the case of Aniki's parents, the door was only locked on the outside. So they could have opened it from the inside. That's right. After we left the room, maybe they jumped out the window and got to the boiler room first. Is that too much of a stretch? Yes. Or maybe Dr. Nanjo made a mistake when examining the corpses. Well, he was having a stroke the entire time. Look, he said it himself, right? He said there's a very high probability of making a mistake when examining corpses. I don't think that involves checking for death. If you disguised it well enough or prepared a substitute body, you could fake your own death. Let's leave the method or trick they use for later. And you see, it's not that hard to deny a 19th person existed, right? Okay, we've been going for 20 minutes now and I still feel like we've gone absolutely nowhere. Why are we still repeating shit? Much less a witch, right? At least that much is completely impossible. I don't know why you've been trying so stubbornly to say that one of us is the culprit. Kihihihi. In other words, for fuck's sake, you want to suspect one of your relatives? That's not it. It's just, I can't easily accept that a 19th person existed, and even if one did, I think we should construct our argument from the point of view that the culprit was a human. Why? I don't care. I'll only accept that it's a witch in desperation at the very end after everything else has been disproved. So you mean I have to go through 4 more chapters of Battler going, no, there's no witch, and then Maria going, ooh, Beatrice exists. There's no way witches exist, right? Why has everyone been casually accepting that the culprit was a witch? Because it's fiction. I think it's great how your family loves making you hate the thought that someone close to you is a murderer. But is it okay to let that fool you? Don't you want to find the detestable culprit who killed so many people? Aniki, don't you want to avenge your parents? Jessica, don't you want to avenge Kanon-kun? And Kanon-kun, don't you want to avenge Shannon-chan? Shannon-chan, you should at least want to know who it was that killed you. Why has everyone totally surrendered and decided that the culprit was a witch? What's wrong with all of you? The foolish and short-tempered battler tried to force his ignorance on the others and yelled at them. I like that sentence. However, everyone just looked at him pityingly, silently watching over him. At that time, the wise Maria laughed and pointed out Battler's mistake. Kihihi. I'm shocked. All I see is you repeating this nonsense, thank you. Thinking you've figured something out, Battler. So, what's next? How would a human do it? In practical terms, I mean. I imagine you'll say, I just can't think of anything now, or with some kind of device using abstract words to run away and evade the topic. What I really want to know, Battler, is this. Why don't you believe in Beatrice? She exists, so why don't you believe? Because she doesn't exist. Witches don't exist. There's no way. It was almost like a spoiled child who just doesn't want to accept something. The pitying gazes quietly closed in around Battler, but they didn't reach his stubborn heart. You realize that you're acting just like a spoiled brat throwing a tantrum, right? Battler-sama, I understand your feelings, but Beatrice does exist. Battler-kun, why don't you believe? Even though there's so much proof. I don't accept the argument that the witch must have been behind everything just because I can't explain it. Does this mean that if you don't know how a light bulb shines, then magic is the cause? I mean, why not? I don't know how it works. Could be magic for all I know. That's wrong, isn't it? There's nothing that can't be explained without magic. All of this about witches and magic is just abdication of thought. What? Why are you using so many big words? You just surrendered and gave up because you don't understand what happened. I mean, I don't understand exactly how my computer works, but I'm not going to sit here and argue about it. Isn't that right? Kihihihi. Well, unsurprisingly, it looks like you alone won't believe no matter what, Battler. If even a single person doesn't believe, the miracle won't occur. So, if you don't rethink your ignorant theories, the miracle, the magic, won't be completed. Hee. Now I see. I finally figured it out. So in other words, you guys are trying to force me to say the witch exists, right? A lie that everyone accepts becomes the truth. Is that what this is all about? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I keep going on about this, but what you're doing is all useless. I refuse. You guys are all pressing me, and that's why it's all useless. Why? Sorry, but why don't you let me spin the chessboard around one last time? I'm gonna slap him with it. If you want to force me to accept that there's a witch, there's a really easy way. And it's not the indirect way of saying it must be a witch because humans couldn't have done it. All you have to do is show me a witch doing it with magic. Furthermore, what Maria said earlier is what'll really dig her grave. You said that if even one person doesn't believe, a miracle won't occur. But real miracles happen whether people believe in them or not. Even if I alone don't believe. So any miracles or magic or witches that exist only because I believe in them are downright lies. Battler, shut up. The uneasy mood following Battler's ignorant rant the narrator is not very kind to him, was blown away by a very soft laugh, soft and light laugh. Whose laugh? Oh, for the love of God, please be Beatrice. Battler was surprised. He had never heard that voice before. When he looked at George and Jessica, at Shannon and Canon and Maria, he noticed that they had suddenly gone respectfully silent. Boom, 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 boom. Finally! I've waited 20 hours for this. Beatrice. How amusing. I haven't met such a charming human for quite some time. Who are you? Don't you even know the host of the tea party you were invited to? How amusing indeed. Cackle, cackle. This is Beatrice Summer, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1,000 years. It is an honor to be graced with your presence, Beatrice Summer. Please forgive Batlakun's ranting. This guy's just stubborn and he still doesn't understand the situation he's in. Cackle, cackle, cackle. What a treat this is. Most witches get tired of living after the first 1,000 years. How nice it is to meet a man with backbone such as yourself every once in a while. It is quite an honor to be present when Beatrice shows herself, Battler. Heh. How astonishing. Are you really that desperate to make me believe that a 19th person is the culprit? This is starting to get interesting, and it's all useless. You must be the illusion that Maria and the others call the witch Beatrice. What? She's literally standing in front of him, and you'll only be allowed to exist if everyone believes it. You have that kind of a half-existence, right? What? That doesn't even make sense. That's why you want to make me believe too. You can't exist because I alone don't believe in you. She's literally right in front of you. How does she not exist? Is this like a translation thing? I don't mean like Japanese to English, but like, what's the word? I can't even think of it. Battler's just battered me down with his just utterly insane ranting that I can't even think anymore. Isn't that right? Your powers of comprehension aren't bad for a mere commoner who knows nothing of magic. Yes, it seems you were born with a strong magic-resisting power. Stupidity. You're a natural enemy of us witches. We don't like stupid people. No matter how much we turn your world upside down, you never believe in us. Therefore, the magic won't succeed. I accept that attitude of yours. Cackle, cackle. I've got no clue what you're saying, Ihi. It's very kind of you to go to all the trouble of showing yourself to us, but I don't believe you exist in the slightest. This just doesn't make sense. It's true that many strange things happened during those 2 days. Like Maria said earlier, even though I think all the tricks could be explained, I still can't lay out the practical details of each one. However, that doesn't mean I'll surrender. Can we just, God, repeating over and over and over. I'm different from the rest of them, got it? I'll never accept that it was the work of a witch just because I can't explain it. This keeps getting more amusing. Making you surrender will be worth my while. You're just the kind of man I'd like to force into praising my name. I'd love to try making a man like you kiss my toes. Oh, okay, that escalated. Cackle, cackle, cackle. His face. Kiss your toes? If you want to talk nonsense, talk all you want. I deny you exist. I'll explain all these events with humans and tricks. There's no room for even a speck of magic or witches. Wonderful! What a perfect way to divert one from 1,000 years of boredom. That smile. Then let me ask you. A short while ago, you said that using the crack in the door would be sufficient to kill Eva and Hideyoshi, right? Explain how they could have been killed using some human trick. Heh. Suddenly jumping right into the toughest part, are you? Does that mean this is the trick you're proudest of? The constant repeating and repeating is just like battered my brain that I can't even speak. Miss Real Culprit. Ooh, fancy. Ooh, fancy. With a shake of her golden pipe, gentle, multicolored smoke trailed out of the end. Ooh, it's like Alice in Wonderland. The smoke quickly obscured their surroundings, and they were suddenly in the hallway of the mansion. Ooh, we're tripping out. Ooh, ooh. My whatchamacallit, not my speaker, my mixer just cracked at the exact same time as the thunder. It scared the crap out of me. The door in front of them, slightly opened but secured by the chain, that's right, it's the door to the room where Eva and Hideyoshi were killed. Nice trick. Very well. Show me what you would do through this small crack, Battler. They probably had some device to shoot those ice picks. Ah yes, the infamous ice pick slingshot. If they used that, how would they reach Eva over on the bed when you can't see that far through this crack? And Hideyoshi was in the bloody shower. And how would they reach Hideyoshi in the bathroom with the door shut? Damn, there's a crack. There should be some way. Cackle, cackle. If you can't think of one, allow me. Oh? How would a witch do it? Come on, let's see your little trick. Battler, you're being rude to Beatrice. How nice, how nice. What a charming man. That will make it even more fun to force him into submission. Heh. You really want to make me kiss your toes that much? You. Only if I surrender. But watch. I'll definitely expose this trick, and then I'll make you... kiss my ass instead. Nobody will be kissing any asses, thank you. Cackle. What a delightful man. No, not really. I'll remember that promise. Weak witches kiss the behinds of demons to gain power. Well, there's some lore for you. Because there's no more humiliating oath. Indeed. Just being told that makes me want to force you into surrender. Cackle, cackle. Oh, that's an interesting image. Paying no mind to Battler's worthless ranting, Beatrice once again shook the golden pipe. That's right. That golden pipe was her precious magic cane. Aw, I wanted the sound effects. Sound effects. Special effects. Seriously, my brain has died. Come, arise, children. I am the guide of purgatory. Forgive the deadly sins and hold the 7 stakes. Guided by those magic words which sounded like a command, 7 stakes gathered. They were the stakes of the 7 demons, symbolizing the deadly sins of sinful people. Beelzebub and, oh god, I can't pronounce these, Asmodeus. Come, forgive the sins. Release the spirits of the sinners. What? The pics of Beelzebub and Asmodeus responded to Beatrice's call. The 2 stakes of the demons were sucked in through the crack of the door like billiard balls struck by a cue stick. Then, several scattered noises refracted through the wall, making a sound like a woodpecker. And at the end, a pleasant sound could be heard. How the hell is that pleasant? I'm digging this music. It was a small, satisfying sound, like the one heard when someone is chopping firewood and the falling axe neatly and easily slices through the wood. It was the sound of the 2 picks burying themselves deep into Eva and Hideyoshi's foreheads. Ah yes, a pleasant sound. Right down the middle. Want to see? No thank you. They definitely heard 2 sounds like a pair of foreheads being split open. Battler wasn't permitted to see it since he was on the other side of the door. But those 2 had died again. Oh, and this second time they lay not an inch apart from where they had lain the last time, with the exact same blood spray as before. You moron. That's insane. You think you can just kill them like that? I can kill them. I can kill them just like this. Okay, I have a cat scratching at the door, so I'll be back. Just once I want to record and not have a cat scratching and meowing. Cackle, cackle, cackle. Alright. Oh, there it is. There's the effect. That's cool. Suddenly, they were no longer in the hall, but seated at the tea party they had started from. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Everyone but Battler was sitting meekly, but Cannon was moaning, fresh blood dangling from his mouth. Ew. What a rude thing to do at a tea party. Satan's stake was buried deep in Cannon's chest. Well, Uga. Cannon-kun! Cannon-kun! Damn it! Battler was the only one getting agitated. George, Jessica, Shannon, everyone else was meekly hanging their heads like students being yelled at by their teacher. Cannon was captivated by a trifling anger and tried to disturb my banquet. Being easily captivated by anger is your deadly sin. Cleanse yourself, repent, and do it over. At Rice. Sa. Ma. Indeed. Beatrice Summer, please, forgive him. I think Cannon-kun has repented enough. Wonderful. I am generous to those who respect me. Cackle, cackle. Don't screw with me. Do you think I'll accept your existence because of this cheap act? Like hell you're a 1,000-year-old witch. Your tricks aren't 1,000 years old. They're just the sum of a century of classic tricks from the mystery genre. There's no such thing as magic. Definitely not. All of the crimes can be explained with humans and tricks. Cackle, cackle. You would explain my 1,000 years with 100 years of humans. Good, good. This is precisely why I've taken a liking to you. Foolish Battler. Kihihihi. Cut it out, Battler-kun. You can't go against the witch. Shannon started moaning, holding her cheek. Maybe she had a toothache. But apparently it wasn't a toothache after all. A slight redness spread across the cheek Shannon was holding. It looked like that redness was causing Shannon unbearable pain. Her fingers were pressing in against her cheek and drops of sweat appeared all over her body. Shannon? Shannon! Hang in there! Hang in there! What's going on? Damn it! What the hell is that red stuff? It expanded rapidly, covering half of Shannon's face. Then, the stupid dunce Battler finally realized. Please, Battler-kun, please believe in Beatrice. I beg you. Ah, because you won't believe, because you won't believe. Ah, the magic is dissolving. Ooh, for the first time in his life, Battler heard that sound, like a pomegranate splitting. The red spray even landed on Battler's face. Ooh, poor Shannon's face had been split in half, and her last horrible moments in that storehouse were repeated once again. Ew. Ooh ah, Shannon, Shannon. Ooh ah. Damn it, damn it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Don't humiliate the dead. Don't humiliate the dead. Ugh. Incredible writing. This time, the redness spread across George's entire body. It was like the beautiful cloud drawn by milk when it's poured into black tea. What? It spread out and extended across his entire body. The metaphors in this are so strange. As it did, it seemed to give George increasingly greater pain. Looking at this bizarre spectacle, Battler was petrified as he frantically thought with his pitifully clumsy imagination about the nature of this strange death George and the rest were experiencing. Eventually, that redness reached the nearby Jessica as well. Gah, ak, hu. Stop it, stop it, stop it! What did Aniki do? What did Jessica do? Just stop it! Battler, don't let the witch break your spirit. Deny her, erase her. As long as at least one person denies her, she's an illusion that can't exist. Ah! Ugh. Are you okay, Jessica? Whoa, Aniki! Oh, George was no longer recognizable as a human. Whoops. Rip. He looked like the pile of leftover meat after a good delicious meat has been scraped off to be cooked. What? These metaphors are so freaking strange. The only thing that even resembled a human was the shape of his lower jaw and ribcage. And it was clear that Jessica, who was covered with a steadily strengthening redness, was approaching the same fate. You, Battler, quickly, believe in Beatrice. You don't, everyone's magic will dissolve. Maria, it's all over your body too. I revive all the dead with my magic, but as long as you don't believe, that magic will hold no true power. Cackle, cackle, cackle. But I'm sure that a man like yourself won't surrender to something like this, right? Battler, we don't want to doubt our friends. We refused to face reality and gave in to the witch. But Battler, you won't give in to the witch. What? They were just literally telling him to give in to the witch, and now they're telling him not to? Pick one. Jessica, Gah. Poor Jessica met the same end. Just like George, she ended up like a butcher's leftovers. George and Jessica were now so destroyed, melted and mixed up it was impossible to tell them apart. Lovely. Battler, don't cry. Beatrice will restore the dead over and over. Ugh. So there's nothing to be sad about. It's constant death. So even if we die, we're still just fine. Did she just explode? Ugh. The redness began eating into the whole of Maria's body. The foolish Battler watched and screamed. Well then. I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you. A witch? Magic? I'll risk my body and soul to deny you. No matter what happens, I can't accept you. Now that you've gone so far to piss me off, I'll never forgive you. I won't forgive, I definitely won't forgive you. You'll regret making me, Ushidomiya Battler, your enemy. I'll deny you no matter what. No matter how baffling things get, it can all be explained by humans. I'll erase every cell of you from this world. Well said. Battler, was it? That's just the thing to divert me from my 1,000 years of boredom. Come, explain. Try explaining it all with humans and tricks. And learn how lowly humans are. Let's see if what humanity has built up in 100 years can oppose my 1,000 years. That's what will make forcing you to submit so pleasant. So tell me, you who call yourself Battler, what about Maria's letter? How the 6 were killed, the shutter, the receipt seal, the closed room with the chain, Kanon in the boiler room, Genji and the others in the lounge, Natsuhi's suicide, the riddle of the epitaph, the location of the hidden gold. Whoop, whoop, woo, fancy. Yes, Battler, why don't you show me the power of humans? Hoo ha 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 ha. Ah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. I guess that's the end of the tea party. Some groovy music. That alone could have honestly been 20 minutes. If, again, they had just edited half of that repeating out. Umineko no naku koro ni. Alright, so, okay, thoughts, tea party. I'm assuming chapters 2, 3, 4 are explaining how the deaths could have been done by a human. I don't know. Nah. I'm gonna read through them by myself. I'm not sure I'll play through an extra 100 hours for the channel, but now I think I know at least kind of what Umineko's about and what it's going for. But man, it was long. Man, it was long. So long. Easily could have been half that length. But it does seem like it's getting interesting now. Like, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the story. I just wish that story was so much shorter. Oop. Question mark has been added. Okay, what's question mark? Shall we click it? Welcome to the tea party of those who are not human. I was told there were 2 tea parties. Maybe this is the second. Alright, let's dive in. I heard this one's very short, so... Ooh, fancy. Less fancy. Ooh, fancy effects. I like it. What sort of black tea shall I prepare next? Allow me to display every refined tea that ever was and ever shall be. Oh, that's a skill I want. Ooh, fancy. Dried plum black tea. The kind that goes for 200 yen a pack. Cackle, cackle. For 1,000 years I have been fond of black tea, but I did not know of such a thing. I will never tire of living in this world. Beto? You don't have to display such hostility. Beto? Really? I am just a wandering witch. I didn't come with the intention of violating the rules of your territory. Cackle, cackle. Hostility? I bear nothing of the sort. I am just terribly concerned with seeing to it that the legendary witch, Lady what? Burncastle, is well attended to. You misunderstand. I am powerless. For a witch such as you, who possesses the dreadful power to kill an individual 100 times, I am completely powerless. That a powerless lady witch like you possesses a power that none can approach is what is truly terrifying. After all, that great witch lady, what? Lambda Delta was dethroned by you alone. What are these names? I only won an endurance contest. She simply got tired. That is not what Lady Lambda Delta said though. Cackle, cackle, cackle. Too much humility can be unseemly, Lady Burncastle. Wait, that's Beatrice? What is going on? That girl has a dreadful power. The power to kill an individual without fail. However, without fail doesn't exist in this world. No matter how many times you divide 1, you can never reach 0. That girl has the power to bring the odds of failure down to almost exactly 0. The power to give rise to almost perfect certainty. I hope I never have to fight such a terrifying witch again. However, you have the power to cause success without fail. Already it's driving me nuts. As long as the odds are not 0. Though you say without fail doesn't exist in this world, you possess an infallible power yourself. How very terrifying. Cackle, cackle. I don't even know who's speaking right now. The power to kill an individual endlessly. I think you're the more terrifying one. You jest. From your point of view, mine is but a trifling power. This is most certainly what one would call empty praise. I have no idea what's going on. Call it flattery to make up for the cost of staying here. I am a fleeing traveller who crosses the fragments, continually running from boredom. I simply came around because I heard you'd started something interesting. Have no doubts that I will choose to leave as soon as you are no longer interesting. Oh, harsh. Cackle, cackle. I assume that's Beatrice. There we go. I, Beatrice, am deeply and humbly delighted to have the great Lady Burncastle as an observer. Wait, she's the purple-haired one's Lady Burncastle? Cackle, cackle. And so, your impressions? Lambda Delta is terrifying because of her cruelty, but she's a girl I can understand. You do seem to be capable of affection, but I can't understand you at all. That makes you much more terrifying than her. I like that purple. Cackle, cackle, cackle. All she does is cackle. I am fickle by nature. Do forgive me. Besides, I believe you also enjoy entrusting your fate to the roll of fickle dice, right, Lady Burncastle? Vroom. When I roll the dice, I have a roll I clearly want to get. Unlike you. You, on the other hand, never let the dice fall from your hand. So whatever the roll might have been, you're never disappointed. Whatever roll the dice show you, you are satisfied without fail. In that sense, you far surpass me. You're one I really don't want to fight with. Inside of you, there's nothing but 0. That's why I can't win against you with my power. It's the worst compatibility. Perhaps Lambda Delta, on the other hand, has a good compatibility against you, since she would be able to kill your endless nature. Cackle, 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 cackle. Oh yes, witches truly are the best people to enjoy black tea with. One doesn't get bored. Cackle, cackle. She's just gonna keep zoning in and out. But I'm relieved. Boredom is the only poison that can kill me. So don't kill me, okay? Lady Beatrice, Endless Witch. If such is your wish, I, Beatrice, shall... Oh my god, I can't speak. And there's another cat scratching at my door, for the love of God. If such is your wish, I, Beatrice, shall show you an even better time. In that case, wouldn't it be best if I brought the next chessboard in right away? It seems the next tale would do more for you than another cup of black tea. Just wait for a moment. Cackle, cackle. Vroom. Something troublesome seems to have taken a liking to you. I'd really like to lend you my power, but as you just heard, that girl's power and mine have a very bad compatibility. I have no idea what that means. Unfortunate as that may be. But you really are pitiful, so I'll help you out just a bit. Vroom. First of all, about that girl. She does have the name Beatrice, but that doesn't necessarily mean she is one individual woman. What? Get what I mean? No. In other words, she's not some human. Yeah, I figured that. Her existence is a personification of the rules of this world. That doesn't make any sense. To beat her, you have to expose the rules of this world and unravel them. This is way beyond my understanding. Perhaps this can be likened to learning the rules of chess by watching a game. First, take a good look at the chessboard. Then, learn the movements and roles of the pieces. Then, look for the conditions required to win at her game. When you've managed to reveal all these things, her heart will be exposed. After that, you can rip it apart or crush it as you please. What if I don't wanna? I am being quite generous. In the past, when I had a human body, it took me 100 years to notice even this much. This is my meager farewell gift to you, the pitiful one captured by Beto. What the hell is Beto? It's just like a spoon. A spoon can be used for more than just drinking soup. You can use it to dig through the prison you're locked in, or as a weapon to gouge the witch's eyes out. Of course, you can also use the spoon to continually sip the watery soup inside your eternal cell. What? Don't get the wrong idea, I have no intention of becoming your ally. I do feel empathy for you, but I won't help you. It's like I'm sitting in front of the television yelling at you on the other side, even though my voice won't reach you. So, you understand that I am a witch, right? I gathered that. I intend to enjoy this endless tale, I feel that Beto is going to weave until I tire of it. I tired of it long ago. But that alone won't hold my interest. That's why I'll lend you my power. It's also that I don't get tired of this. I am the cruelest witch in the world. Whoever the opponent may be, I'll make them surrender with certainty. Even if it's Beatrice the Endless Witch, okay? You are my game piece. Give it your best shot. I'll give you advice sometimes out of her sight. Don't bore me, okay? It's back at ya. Giggle, giggle, giggle. Okay. That didn't help me at all. Now I'm just even more confused. Apparently that's the end, so screw you. Addition of a new game board. The next episode's lock has been removed. Okay. That was a thing. Ooh, what the? Why are we in an aquarium now? What the? Okay, that was what we just watched in the tea party. Tips. Take a look back on your recent stay. Oh, for the love of God, no. I've heard things so many times that I have not forgotten a single thing. Alright, that's the end of this. We've done the tea party, we've done the question marks. that explains a little more supposedly about what Umineko is about. I'm still really freaking confused. I assume only playing through the second chapter will actually help with that. Good morning, the Golden Witch eagerly awaits your arrival. Please do grant her that wish. The difficulty level is extreme. I don't understand why there's difficulty levels when it's a visual novel in which you have no choices. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Thank you for watching all of the first chapter of Umineko, presumably, if you've come this far. It was very long. Yeah, I'll probably be playing through the rest of the episodes myself, because they are long. I do recommend picking it up for yourself if you found it interesting, because I'm sure it's much more interesting to play without having to record it all, where you really notice the repetition. But anyway, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. See ya!